Hendrick Motorsports. In case nobody heard it this weekend.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Post Martinsville episode. And man, for a race that really wasn't that exciting, it was exciting to fans in a lot of other ways. And we're going to talk about all that in here. Obviously, not the best racing. Short track package, still a lot to work with. Tire fall off wasn't there. A couple strategies, Joey Logano and Martin Truex, but it just didn't work out for them guys. But Hendrick Motorsports getting a lot of publicity, getting a lot of TV time, and that was obvious to everybody out there. And man, as the race went on, I started realizing one of these Hendrick cars is going to win this race. I started realizing right then as well, I bet people are already saying this race is rigged. And boy, I went over to Twitter and nobody disappointed me. And this is while the race was still going on, but people were out there talking about it and saying the race was rigged. Even Hendrick fans saying, I'm sick of hearing the Hendrick name today. It was just different comments. And I knew this was going to be par for the course. I mean, they did. 40th anniversary from the very first win at Martinsville with Jeff Bodine. And, hey, by the way, check this out. This was me with Jeff Bodine 40 years ago. So I love that history. I love all this stuff right here. But, yeah, people were talking about this, saying this race, probably some rigging to it to make this happen. And obviously Hendrick fans excited about it. The 1-2-3 finish, first time at Martinsville. But the Hendrick haters going, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. And I knew it was going to happen. And this episode right here is for both parts of everybody. I try to keep a very unbiased opinion on stuff. And so some of this, Hendrick haters are going to love. Some of it, Hendrick lovers are going to hate. Vice versa. But I want to throw this out there. But listen, when it comes to monumental races like this, there's always been controversy. There's things that happen. And, you can go back to Richard Petty. We can go to his 200th victory. This was at Daytona. Ronald Reagan happened to be there, and a lot of people said, this race was rigged. He got by with things. To make this happen, the 200th victory with the president there, it makes headlines. So a lot of people were talking about that. And then you can go prior to that to 1983 at Charlotte. Richard Petty getting the win, and there really was no conspiracy about that. It was real. He was illegal. He was illegal as hell. I mean, the motor was supposed to be a 358 cylinder or cubic inch motor. They had almost a 382 cubic inch motor in it. And outside of that, they had the tires on the wrong side of the car, which was illegal. Something that prior to that same year, Tim Richmond was penalized 5 laps during the race for it. And he didn't even win. It wasn't even for winning. He was just penalized 5 laps for having tires on the wrong side of the car. But yet, Richard Petty was able to keep that win and got him closer to that 200th win. Something NASCAR wanted to happen or have happened. Not saying it wasn't a little wrong, but that's what happened. And ironically, second place was Darrell Waltrip in a Junior Johnson prepared car. And Junior, as soon as he saw what was going on, told the guys, pack up the car, get the hell out of here. Don't let them look at our car. So obviously, there was some good cheating going on right there. But, this is something that, again, comes up at monumental races like this. And it's part of the sport. Hate to say it, but it is part of the sport. And I'm not saying these guys cheated this weekend. This was a very special race to them. And but I get people's views. I get people's points. And if you take last week, Toyota sponsored race, Toyota's on the restart 1 and 2. Toyota wins. People saying, that looks pretty fishy there. Toyota's winning the Toyota sponsored race. So ways for people to talk. Ways for people to build conspiracies about things. And for anybody who's the anti-Hendrick, you could also go back to Kansas, which was 17 years to the day of the fatal plane crash of the Hendrick family and team. Kyle Larson brought it home to victory lane, and take a listen to this.
Kyle, I want to ask you about the specifics of the race, but I want to ask you about the significance of winning this 17 years to the day after a tragedy in the NASCAR community and especially for Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, I want to dedicate this win to Rick and Linda. I didn't get to ever meet Ricky or the other men and women who lost their lives that day, but I felt the importance of this race, no doubt. So
now, following that in victory lane, Larson hat backwards in tribute to Ricky Hendrick, finger pointing to the sky. And then yesterday, William Byron, victory lane, usually has that big hat on, but no, had the hat backwards, finger pointed to the sky. And this is the part I want to say about this is, this is a track that means a lot to the Hendrick family, not only for getting that very first victory there, but also this was the track that lost family members coming to. And for Rick Hendrick, he not only lost his son, he lost his brother and his nieces. And I'm going to tell you, his brother John was a hell of a man. I used to race go-karts with him, and just such a likable guy. So I can only imagine how this impacted Rick and how much this racetrack means to him. So I can't say that they maybe just didn't spend some extra time, prioritize this race, because it was something that means so much to them, and they wanted this victory. And, I can even say this. I don't know whether this still goes on today, but I know for a lot of years following the death of Ricky Hendrick, that Rick Hendrick himself would go to the campus at Hendrick Motorsports, and he would uncover a 2004 black Chevy Tahoe Z71. This was Ricky's vehicle. This was the vehicle that Ricky drove to the airport the day of that fatal incident. And Rick drives that home one day out of the year, I'm sure, just to communicate and be close to his son. So a racetrack that really means a lot to him. And I'm happy to see it happen for him. And love to see the controversy because it makes it exciting to a less than exciting race. Now, I know people are going to say this right here because I see this come back on a lot of different things. The people that don't like Hendrick or Hendrick Motorsports are going to say he's a cheater. And they bring up the fact about the bribery charges that he had and the investigation that went into that, and how 2 weeks into the proceedings of the charges that he announced that he had leukemia. And a lot of people said that he faked this to get out of going to trial, the regular preliminary hearings and stuff. And this is what I have to say about this. Ray Evernham come to work for Rick Hendrick in 93. And not long after that, Ray's son was diagnosed with leukemia. And I have a hard time believing, for one, that Rick Hendrick would be the type of man that would fake a disease that somebody so close to him who works for him would have a son going through. And outside of that, I really have a hard time believing that Ray Evernham would say, I'm going to sit back and let you fake an illness so you can get out of some trouble, some prison time or some fines or things like that. So none of that makes sense to me. And people can argue with me all day long if they want to about it. But we have to look at the after effects of all this right here, because with what Rick Hendrick went through with this, he's made a lot of money for cancer research and cancer patients. And, he started the Hendrick Marrow program and and raised millions of dollars with that. And then they combined everything together into the Hendrick Family Foundation, which continues to raise money. And, you have to look at the drivers that drove for him. Look at all the people that Rick Hendrick brought into racing. I mean, Tim Richmond, he made his career come to life. And Jimmy Johnson, 7 championships, historic, something I don't think anybody will ever catch up to again. And look at careers he's rebounded. Get Mark Martin back out there, Dale Jr. out there, back in victory lane, and Kyle Larson, a guy whose career was virtually over as far as the Cup Series, brings him back, and look what happened there. Champion. Chase Elliott, a guy whose father was Ford all of his career, but yet gets into the Chevrolet, gets a championship. So Rick has done a lot for the sport. 40 years. I get NASCAR celebrating it the way that they did. It's something it's huge. It's something huge. If you remember Kyle Busch, when he was going for his 200th win in the NASCAR series, across all the different series, NASCAR talked about it. They brought it up over and over and over again. And for Hendrick to be involved 40 years in this sport, He's helped build it. And in my opinion, he deserved the accolades that he got yesterday. Maybe went a little overboard, but definitely deserved it. And to me, a hell of a man, a hell of a team. And hey, if you want to have the same publicity during the races, beat them. Do the same thing. That's all I got to say about it. But anyways, man, I hope everybody out there is having a great week already. And I got a lot more things to cover this week. Going to be talking about Joe Gibbs Racing, the problems that they have. You heard that right, the problems. But and some other things I want to follow up with last week's episode. But anyways, once again, I hope you're off to a great week. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.